Hello everyone, it's Foo here, and today I want to bring you some consistent big brain strategies using the big brain themselves, Octillery, an absolute beast of a Pokemon. I love this Pokemon so much. This came as a product of in my previous video talking about different ability and move combinations that I want to see. Moody was one of the abilities I wanted to see more of. So I went into Sword and Shield, and Octillery is one of the few Pokemon that gets access to this ability. So I want to show you what it can do in this video. I've built a really cool team showcasing Octillery itself, and then I've also built a team which uses Octillery as a support Pokemon in a really unique way, which I can't wait to show you. But let's jump straight into a battle to showcase Octillery first. So in this first battle, my opponent actually has a restricted Pokemon in Groudon, extremely powerful, can set up the sun and everything. And aside from that, they just have an extremely standard team with the big man Colossal as well. Colossal being an insane Dynamax threat. And I do not have a restricted Pokemon, but I do have an Octillery. So let's jump into the battle to see how this goes. So my opponent's going to send out their Groudon and their Dragapult, and I'm going to send out my Octillery and my shiny Indeedee, which I actually managed to get while breeding for this team, which is really cool. So I get to set up my Psychic Terrain. Now this turn, I'm thinking maybe they'll get their Colossal in because they're setting up the sun. So I was thinking maybe they'll go for a Surf with their Dragapult and get in their Colossal, or they might just go for a double attack to try to get rid of my Indeedee. Like a Precipice Blades maybe, and something to break a Sash, because I've got Sash on my Indeedee. So what I do instead is I Dynamax my Octillery. I want to set up the sun. I want to get rid of the... I want to set up the rain. I want to get rid of the sun. Go for that Max Geyser and do some decent damage into the Groudon, but mainly just get rid of the sun because it will decrease the damage of my water type attacks, which could be very important if Colossal is here. So I actually go for a Protect with my Indeedee. I want to retain my Sash, and as long as they don't Dynamax, then I will, retain my Sash, which could be really important for redirecting with Follow Me later in the battle. But they instead go for a Light Screen as I go for the Max Geyser into the Groudon slot, which is actually now the Colossal, and they manage to get it in. I do activate their weakness policy and their Steam Engine, but that's kind of okay because now I've made it rain. I've got my Indeedee still with its Focus Sash, and I've done a lot of damage to that Colossal before it could Dynamax. So the sun and the Light Screen obviously did a lot of work for them there to prevent the damage to the Colossal. Now here you see the big thing about Octillery. We get our Moody, we get a defense boost, and we get a special attack drop, which isn't ideal because this turn I'm thinking they're either going to ally switch with their Dragapult or they will switch in Groudon again. Either way, trying to reduce the damage to their Colossal. In either scenario, a Max Geyser into the Dragapult slot was my best play, because if they ally switch, I would catch the Colossal and it should do really good damage. If they bring in their Groudon, they'll set up the sun, but I can attack the Groudon, get some decent damage there, and set up the rain again. So I definitely thought that going for Max Geyser into the Groudon slot would be best. I am at -1 special attack now. Moody worked slightly against me that turn because it's reduced my damage output, but as soon as I get the rain up, my Octillery will still be doing very good damage. I can go for Follow Me very safely, as the Colossal actually shows the max overgrowth here, so presumably trying to target my Octillery there, but I can dodge that attack. It would have done a ton of damage because of the weakness policy activation, but indeed he can handily survive that. I don't even need my Focus Sash here. And I just go for the Max Geyser, as I said, into that Groudon slot. Does a decent amount of damage, not loads though, but the main thing is I've changed the weather now. So we've got the rain up again, and I can threaten both of these Pokemon. They don't have... Groudon's on the field, so they won't be able to set up the sun very easily again. So that's really good for me. And there's no threat of ally switch or anything like that this turn. So this turn, I am just going to target into that Colossal. I need to get rid of it before my Indeedee redirection dies. So I was just going to go for a Max Geyser into the Colossal slot. Fortunately, their Colossal is faster than the Groudon, and I have defense boosts, which is helpful, so Groudon isn't as much of a threat to my Octillery. You see there that I get a special attack boost, which is amazing, so now I'm at +1 special attack, which is very good for me. I can go for the Follow Me. The Colossal actually goes for a Max Flare here, which is interesting, presumably trying to pick off the Indeedee while setting up the sun, but because I've just got that special attack boost, I will still be able to KO the Colossal even though the sun is up. We saw how much damage we did in the sun on turn 1. Now we're actually +1 special attack in the sun, so we'll be able to take out the Colossal from there. So I understand why they went for the Max Flare, but probably setting up their Volcalith there would have been better for them in the long run. Now we can get the rain up again, but unfortunately we will lose the Weather Wall overall because they still have their Groudon in the back, so they can bring that in. Right now we get another Moody activation, so this time we're going to get even more special attacks, and now we're at +3 special attack. We've got special defense drops, but it seems as though the opponent hasn't brought any special attackers. So special defense drops are absolutely fine and acceptable. So the Groudon comes on the field. Rillaboom is definitely threatening because it's super effective against my Octillery, but I do actually have something going in my favor on this turn. So I'm going to go for, I'll just show you my boosts. So I've got +1 defense, I've got +3 special attack, and I've got -1 special defense. The defense boost is really handy because it will help me take attacks from these Pokemon. Grassy Glide will definitely hurt, but the Groudon is a bit less threatening until it goes for a Swords Dance, which is very, very scary, and that might be quite hard to deal with. I'm going to go for a Sun Boosted Overheat into the Rillaboom. The Rillaboom actually eats that, so it tells me that it's probably a bulkier, like maybe Assault Vest Rillaboom to be able to survive a Sun Boosted Overheat. So that's something to note, and so obviously it's still a threat to my Octillery. So what I'm going to do this turn is I'm going to... Oh, we'll get the Moody first, so let's see what we get this turn. We get another special attack boost, so now we're at +5 special attack, -2 special defense, but as I said, special defense drops don't matter. We can take those all day, that's fine. So now we're just extremely powerful, completely skill-based, guys. This technique is completely skill-based, but now we're super, super powerful. I bring in my Intimidator, my Landorus, and you can see here now, I've actually got the Rindo Berry on my Octillery for these exact kind of situations where Rillaboom, you know, going through Grassy Glide, that's one of the easiest ways the opponent might have to take me out. So I can actually eat that up really, really easily with my defense boost, their attack drop, and the Rindo Berry. And I think that the Groudon definitely underestimated my Octillery. Maybe they thought with the Sun, they could take an attack, but because I have Ice Beam as well and Energy Ball, there was no way that they could take one of my attacks. But still, I'm at +5 attack, so they definitely underestimated. However, you saw how little damage the Grassy Glide did. I think with my defense boosts, I would have been able to take even a +2 Precipice Blades if it was split damage. I don't really know if they had any attacks that would have been able to take out my Octillery at that stage. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overestimating Octillery, but that was definitely an interesting play on their part. Actually, they were only +1 attack because I had intimidated them. So yeah, I definitely would have taken an attack there. Now they're going to go for a Light Screen with their Dragapult, and they're just going to try to get rid of my Octillery again. As I can go for a Rock Slide to take out the Rillaboom. Now that there's really nothing that threatens my Octillery at all, we're going to get another Moody boost at the end of this turn. The grassy terrain also really helping my Octillery. I'm at a really good amount of health right now. Get one more Moody boost, and that's probably going to be the end of the battle after this turn. So the last one gives me a completely useless attack boost. That's the one we really don't want to see. Attack boosts don't do anything for me. Breaking Swipe comes out. It doesn't do too much damage. We get an attack drop here, again, completely irrelevant. My Landorus is just going to go for a Rock Slide for some chip damage with the single target onto the Dragapult. It really doesn't do very much damage at all after the Breaking Swipe, but I do have like the +5 Ice Beam at this stage, which is just going to nuke the Dragapult and take that out. And that goes to show how fun this Octillery team can be. Octillery is really fun, and it just sat on the field the entire match. That's kind of how I built this team. It's all there to keep Octillery on the field for as long as possible because you need to stack those Moody boosts. And when you get quite a few going, then you can get a load of like defense boosts, or you can get a load of special attack boosts if you're lucky. Speed boosts don't help too much. I've got enough speed so that at +1 you're outspeeding some of the slowest things, and at +2 you might outspeed, I don't know, some base 90 Pokemon. Landorus, for example, you might be able to outspeed a +2. So that's one Moody boost to speed. You probably will outspeed most Landorus. But yeah, it's a really, really fun team with a redirection and everything. Really cool. Now I'm going to show you another replay which isn't the most competitive match, but showcases other aspects of the team. And really, I just wanted to show you it to show you like how crazily out of control the boosts can snowball. So let's get into this one. The last one was very competitive and, you know, against a restricted team when I had no restricteds. This one is just for fun. So I'm going to lead with my Grimmsnarl and my Octillery, so you can get to see a few different Pokemon on this team now. I'm actually going to straight away switch out my Grimmsnarl and switch in to my Pincurchin. That's right, we have a Pincurchin on this team, which is very, very fun. And I'm going to Dynamax my Octillery straight away again, because there's really nothing that threatens me. You see that when I switched in my Pincurchin, electric terrain did not go off. Now, most people know Pincurchin for being an electric terrain setter, but it does have other abilities. And the one very important one that I'm using it for in this match is for its Lightning Rod ability. So it will redirect any electric type attacks away from Octillery into my Pincurchin. Most people don't expect that because they expect the electric terrain, so it's actually a really nice hidden Lightning Rod Pokemon. Now, with the Light Screen, that Regirock takes the Max Geyser extremely well. It looks like maybe, even without the Light Screen, that stood a chance of not KOing. So it's probably a very specially defensive Regirock. You see they go for Stealth Rock, which isn't a very common thing to see in the doubles format. So, again, I'm not sure how competitive this doubles team of Regis the opponent has is. So we get a special attack boost there, which is very fun indeed. By the way, really appreciating the opponent's nicknames here. It must have taken them a long time to think those ones up. So the opponent actually goes to a Thunder Cage this turn as they switch into what's presumably their specially defensive Pokemon in Regice, because it's got a huge special defense stat. But yeah, we redirect the Thunder Cage with our Lightning Rod, and I just go for a max Overgrowth into the Regice. I guess I was thinking it would be nice to set up some recovery and also get the grassy terrain on the field so I could boost grass type moves further if I want to use any more in future, but really I should have just gone for another Max Geyser to capitalize on the rain boost. I go for an Acupressure here though. That's why I have the Pincurchin on this team. I get another special attack boost. Pincurchin is the only Lightning Rod user with Acupressure, and I just wanted to stack those random boosts because you get random boosts with Moody. I get a speed boost this turn, which was very fun. And then you get random boost with Acupressure as well, and it turns into you get +4 stats with -1 at the end of each turn, by the end of each turn, which is really, really fun. So this one is just one where we're going to try to snowball as many stats with Moody and Acupressure as possible. We do another Acupressure, and this time we get an evasion boost, which I didn't even know you could still get with Acupressure. So Moody can only boost the attack, defense, special defense, or speed stats. It used to be able to increase accuracy and evasion, but it can't anymore. But apparently Acupressure can. So now I've got +2 evasion on my Octillery, as well as all the other boosts that I'm starting to get too. So this thing is super strong, and it's very hard to hit too. So now the opponent's going to start getting some damage into my Pincurchin. I think they realize that if they take out my Pincurchin, then maybe Thunder Cage can do some damage to my Octillery. But yeah, it's a long way off. This is a very defensive Pincurchin, so extreme speed's not going to be doing very much at all. I can go for another Acupressure. We get another special attack boost, which is crazy. This thing is going to be hitting so hard. And then this turn, our Moody is going to boost our special attack to +6 and reduce our special defense. At the moment, I'm not too worried about my defenses. They've only got Registeel, which hits on the physical side, and their special attacks from Regieleki can't do anything because of the Lightning Rod ability. Now they're going to Dynamax, and it looks like they're Dynamaxing their Registeel, which is something that you don't see very often. Most of the time these things have Iron Defense Body Press, so Dynamaxing them doesn't help too much because Body Press boosts your attack stat, which isn't particularly helpful when your Body Press is based off your defense stat. Now they start extreme speeding into my Octillery. They managed to hit that despite my +2 evasion. You see my Scold going off there would have KO'd the Registeel if it hadn't Dynamaxed, because I am at +6 special attack, but it does half because of their Dynamax health. They go for the Max Knuckle here, which I was like, well, that's not good. It doesn't do much damage, but it does always hit, and actually it gives their Regieleki an attack boost, so their extreme speed will be doing a bit more damage, so maybe that's why they did that. Unfortunately, Acupressure boosts our attack, which is the least useful thing that it can boost. And then we get all of our recovery from the grassy terrain, and then we should get the Moody boost at the end of the turn, which is going to be, this turn is going to be our attack. And again, completely useless, but you know, that's what happens. And here I just wanted to show you how we've snowballed so far. So we've got +4 attack, +6 special attack, 2 defense, 1 speed, and 2 evasion, which is absolutely insane. They go for the max guard on their Registeel, which is reasonable because they're just trying to get recovery. But the thing is, against this team, when I've just got Octillery on the field and I'm boosting it with both Acupressure and Moody, they're just giving me 3 boosts. So it's probably not a good idea. So here we've got another speed rise with the Acupressure, and then after all the grassy terrain, we get another Moody boost, and we'll see what we get now. Now that the rain's run off, and yeah, I'm just not going to be able to KO the Regieleki with 1 hit now, so that's a bit frustrating. But we get another speed raise, and the special defense falls. But I'm just going to, they go for the extreme speed, and it doesn't do too much. Even after the max knuckle boost, it doesn't do too much. We don't KO the Registeel, but we do actually get a burn, which is kind of helpful. It means that this attack will do less damage, but they go for a max steel spike, which I thought was, oh, okay. And now they're boosting their defense because they want to go for body press next turn maybe, which could do quite a lot of damage. But the max steel spike really doesn't do very much at all. And here we go for another Acupressure. I really don't have very much else useful to do with my Pincurchin at this stage. I've got Thunderbolt, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. And to be honest, it's just more fun to see how many boosts I can get. So this turn I get a special defense boost, and then we get another speed rise. So I think we're now +6 speed as my special defense falls, but that's fine because I've just boosted my special defense with the Acupressure. So that's all fine. Now Regieleki is going to go for another extreme speed. Octillery is still holding on. We can take out the Regieleki this turn. I was getting slightly worried that one of my Pokemon would faint and Regieleki could be a bit of an issue. But here the Registeel shows superpower. I was expecting body press, so again, not really something you would expect on a Registeel. So I don't think that this team was the most competitive. But again, we're really just doing this for the boosts to see how many we could get. So we get another Acupressure boost off, and the last Moody boost of the game, I believe, where we get another attack boost. Completely useless. Special attack falls, which is not ideal, and that is the bad point for the Moody. Getting those drops can be really awkward sometimes. And now you can see the full majesty of our stat spread. Absolutely insane. Max speed, max attack, and almost max special attack. It's just stupid. This ability is very, very fun to use. It's very swingy, but it's very fun to use. Okay, so that is the first team, which is just Moody Octillery with the Acupressure Pincurchin with Lightning Rod. And then, you know, you've got Grimmsnarl for screens. You've got Indeedee for the Follow Me, and Indeedee actually also has Psych Up, so if you get a ton of boosts on Octillery, you can actually Psych Up with Indeedee and then do some damage with Expanding Force, which can be quite fun. The other 2 Pokemon on the team are Landorus and Rotom. They're there because they're kind of necessary to have some threats to take out things that would otherwise threaten Octillery. So they're both pretty good into Rillaboom. Landorus is obviously good against some of the electric types. Rotom generally is very good against other grass types. Ferrothorn, for example, could be a bit of a problem. So they're kind of necessary on the team as alternative sweepers, alternative Dynamax Pokemon as well. If you want to stack boosts, for example, going for max Airstreams with Landorus and next to Octillery while it's getting its Moody boosts can be pretty fun too. So that's the fun Moody Octillery team that is very, very consistent and completely skill-based. Now I want to move on to another team where Octillery is actually more of a support Pokemon. This one is definitely more a concept team. I do not think that this is a viable strategy at all, but it's very fun, and I'll show you how it works. So again, this team I'm going up against has a restricted Pokemon in Xerneas, and we have no restricted Pokemon, but we do have a new legendary on this team in Cresselia. So let's see how this goes. So my opponent's going to lead off with their Xerneas and Garchomp, 2 very powerful Pokemon that are pretty scary. I'm going to lead out with my Octillery and my Cresselia, and I've alluded to this strategy in my previous video. It relies on an attack that Octillery doesn't get in Sword and Shield. It gets in previous games, so I've had to transfer this Octillery over, and you'll see that in a second. So my opponent's actually just going to protect their Xerneas and go for an Earthquake with their Garchomp, maybe to scout a bit and just to get some damage on Octillery. My Octillery is actually much more defensive in this build though, so it doesn't take much at all. Moonblast, even with Fairy Aura, does less than half on the Garchomp, so it looks kind of like a bulky Garchomp, although maybe I'm just underestimating Garchomp's natural bulk. But here you see Octillery's Entrainment, which gives Cresselia Moody. That used to be an egg move in previous games, but for some reason, it is no longer an egg move. So now I've got a Cresselia that's going to be getting stat boosts every turn. First turn, I get a special attack boost, which is great, and a speed drop, which is kind of fine. Both opposing Pokemon outspeed me already. Octillery doesn't get any notable boost. It gets a drop to its special defense, which could be an issue. But really, in this team, Octillery has now performed its purpose. I don't really need it for anything anymore. The Garchomp is going to Dynamax and try to get some big hits off, I assume. And the Xerneas is just sitting pretty there. So we'll see. The Xerneas actually outspeeds their Garchomp, which again further confirms I think this is probably a bulkier Garchomp. The Xerneas goes for the Geomancy here. They do have the Power Herb. That's very scary. I'm not sure if any of my Pokemon are going to be able to survive attacks from this Xerneas right now because it's quite threatening. And the Garchomp is, so yeah, it gets its special attack boost, which is insane. Special defense boost is actually more concerning because I've really only got special attackers here. And then the Garchomp goes for a Max Quake into my Cresselia, which does a good amount of damage. Like, I'm a very defensive Cresselia, so that is a good amount of damage, but more importantly, it gets another special defense boost, which is frustrating because even with my special attack boost from last turn, this Moonblast doesn't quite KO, which is kind of annoying, but also it means that Xerneas is now at +3 special defense, which can be very hard to deal with. Fortunately though, Octillery survives the turn and I'm able to paralyze the Xerneas. So if I can get some speed boosts with my Cresselia, then I might be able to start outspeeding that, even though I've got a speed drop at the moment. So I get a special defense boost, which is really nice. Special attack drop is kind of fine. I've already got +2, so I'm only down to +1. The special defense boost could be really helpful though, because I've just matched the Xerneas' boost. This turn I go for a Protect, hoping that the opponent will take out my Octillery here, as they opt to go for a raw Geomancy. Having used their Power Herb up already, this will take 2 turns for them to charge, but actually it's really scary, because if they get another boost with their Xerneas, that's bad. Luckily, they do target the Octillery. It goes down to a crit. I'm not sure if that crit matters or not. I get an attack drop, which seems kind of pointless, but actually it does affect this Cresselia. It will affect my damage output because the whole point of this strategy is I have Moody paired with stored power. So each turn I'm getting these passive boosts. This turn I get a defense boost, which is really nice. It means that Garchomp is much less of a threat. But yeah, it means that stored power each turn is going up in power, but my attack drops are annoying because if I get an attack boost with Moody, it cancels out any damage output increase I would have for stored power. Now I'm able to get my Incineroar in. That's nice because it means that Garchomp again is even less of a threat with a defense boost. With my defense boost on Cresselia and the attack drop on Garchomp, I can kind of ignore Garchomp now because it's not a threat at all to my main sweeper. You see here I Dynamax and I have forgotten to give my Cresselia Dynamax candies, so that's not great. But it's still an insanely bulky Pokemon, so hopefully I will still be able to tank hits really well. We see Max Geyser come out of Garchomp right now, which is unexpected. It may be Aqua Tail, and it may just be on this team they want some way to control the weather. But I did get the fake out off with my Incineroar, and that prevented Xerneas' Geomancy going off, which is really good. So they didn't get their extra boosts from the Geomancy, so that's nice. And I can go for my max move with Cresselia to set up the Psychic Terrain. Doesn't do much damage, but my next one will do more damage because of the Psychic Terrain being up, and I just need to start chipping away. I get another defense boost, so again making Garchomp even more impotent, which is good. And yeah, things are looking kind of okay right now. So on this turn, Xerneas is opting for a Protect again, and we're actually going to see another Earthquake come out of Garchomp, and it's going to do a good amount of damage to Incineroar even at the -1 attack that Garchomp has suffered. But I am able to survive that and get my Citrus Berry off. And obviously it does not do very much damage at all to Cresselia, which is at like +3 or 4 defense by now. I think +4 defense. So yeah, it's really not doing anything to Cresselia. It's just not a threat at all. Go for another Max Mindstorm into the Cresselia. It's not going to do much because it's protected, but any tip damage I'm getting is really important. And I can just get some more leftovers recovery. So again, this tactic is similar to the Octillery tactic I showed you previously, where I just want Cresselia to sit on the field and stack as many boosts as possible. Now we get another special attack boost. I'm going to show you the stat boost that I've got right now. +3 defense, +3 special attack, +1 special defense, and -speed is really, really good because it means that I've got a very bulky Cresselia that's actually going to be doing a lot of damage. I've now got more special attack boosts than Xerneas has special defense boosts. Xerneas opts to go for a Geomancy here, which is very questionable considering that they were going for an Earthquake into their own Pokemon. What it allows me to do, because they got a crit on their own Xerneas, I can take that out with a Flare Blitz in the rain, and that means that my Cresselia's Max Mindstorm is now redirected into the Garchomp, which does have a special defense boost, but it's got no HP, so that goes down too. If Flare Blitz hadn't taken out the Xerneas, I would have probably been able to take it out with a Max Mindstorm now at +3 special attack in the Psychic Terrain. So yeah, now I get an attack boost. Again, not great, but any stat boosts that I get are helpful to boost the power of stored power. And bear in mind, stored power doesn't reduce in power with stat drops. It only increases with stat boosts. So that's still pretty good. So yeah, if the Xerneas had gone for a Dazzling Gleam that last turn, it would have definitely done more damage. It would have done some damage to my Cresselia, which probably would have been beneficial for the opponent. But now I just showed you there my stat boosts. I had, I think, 7 stat boosts, which would take the power of my stored power to base 160 power, which is so strong. That's actually more powerful than the Max Mindstorms I was doing the previous turn, and I'm at +3 special attack, so this is actually just going to one-hit KO the Lucario. They had Shadow Claw, which I thought was a bit strange, but then thinking about it, if it's a Dynamax option, being able to drop the opponent's defense is actually very useful, so maybe Shadow Claw makes a bit more sense. It makes more sense than, say, Crunch, for example. I get a defense boost here, which is so good to have going into this Cinderace because it's not going to be doing any damage now. I've got like +5 defense, I think. So yeah, really good. I'm going to go for Follow Me here with my Indeedee, just in case I go for a Sucker Punch. I mean, Psychic Terrain's up, but that's actually what they do. Because it fails, they remain the fighting type. And so my stored power is super effective there. So I've got a +3 stored power. At base, I think 180 damage that turn. No, 200 damage in the Psychic Terrain. Just did so much damage, and we can take out the Cinderace and win that battle. So that one was kind of a proof of concept of something that I mentioned in my previous video about using Moody combined with stored power or power trip. One of these moves where your move is more powerful depending on the number of stat boosts you have, and obviously Moody can passively do that every turn. It's crazy. It's so strong. So yeah, really fun strategy that I just wanted to show off. It's kind of underhanded, but I actually really enjoy the concept. The really frustrating thing though is that Octillery lost entrainment. Like, it was an egg move in the previous generation. It wasn't a TM or anything like that it lost access to. It was literally an egg move, and they decided going into this generation, let's remove that as an egg move, despite Moody being less broken than it was previous generations because you can't boost your evasion or your accuracy. So whatever, that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. It really helps the channel out. Press the notification bell as well, because I don't have a regular upload schedule. So if you don't want to miss a video, then make sure that you get notified when one goes up. All that's left to be said is I've been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.